So let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is indeed Nate the Great. You're listening to Pro Talk Wrestling live here on Spreaker, and I am pleased to have a very special guest here. We've been planning this for a while now. He has been a great independent wrestler from what I've seen. He has been one of the hosts of Pro Wrestling Off Topic with Zach Hagelbuscher. This is the veteran, Joshua the Architect Yeager. How's it going, man?
The Architect. You know, the thing I heard you say most during that whole introduction was has been. You son of a bitch. Has been?
I don't know if I said
he has been. He has been. He has been. Yeah, I did some indie work ancient times ago. So
okay, well,
yeah, it's those days are long gone.
Okay, well now you're the one that made yourself seem like a has-been. I just said has-been on independent, but you made it better. But yeah, let's
That's true.
Yeah, let's start into that. Their independent days. How did you really get involved into that? Because I've seen you wrestle a couple times back when I was interested in the UWF, but you did a little bit of wrestling beforehand, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's actually true. Well, it started just like probably several people. I know Dean Ambrose was a big backyard wrestler guy in the 90s and the early 2000s as well. But friends and then myself started to do the backyard thing with, you know, ladders and chairs and whatever pots and pans we could find in my parents' pantry, and wound up investing in a wrestling ring, and then kind of just built up from there. After our own independent show started to kind of grow into a point where it just imploded on itself pretty much. Friends, not really very close friends anymore, and business is hard when you're all close friends and certain decisions had to be made, and people wanted to quit, and it just kind of folded in on itself. And after that, I wound up working independently for a couple different shows. That was in the early 2000s. There wasn't exactly an illustrious indie career by any means, but I have been in the ring with Jerry Lynn. That was at Peckerland Pro Wrestling in a more or less like a battle royal type match. Actually, there was a number of us, my friends and I, that were in that match as well. And we also got to hang out and talk to him afterwards. And then as far as local wrestlers that were actually pretty well known, at least locally, one of them was Hannibal, who also wrestled as Time Bomb. I think his name was John Hansen. We booked him a few times to come and wrestle. Probably one of the more professional guys I've ever worked with. He was just such an awesome person. And it's really interesting, too, because I've dealt with friends and coworkers and things in the industry that have worked with all sorts of other people. So, like, in the idea of 6 degrees of separation, I guess I've been, you know, in arm's length of several big-name wrestlers. But stories that I've always heard about guys like Raven, just a complete jerk in real life when he came to a show up here in central Wisconsin. I know there was some other guys that had come here. I can't think of anybody other than Jerry Lynn. I think Alex Shelley was here once. This is probably like 7 or 8 years ago. And then Raven, that was probably 10 or 11 years ago up here in central Wisconsin. But Jerry Lynn and Hannibal, they're just such professional guys, so nice. And what they loved to do was just help and give advice, and that was something you didn't see very often when you booked a real pro wrestler to come. And, you know, they came in and they know they're getting anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 for their, you know, 15-minute appearance, where everybody else is getting $10 or less, or a free T-shirt or a tape or something to come and kill themselves in this like indie show with, you know, in front of 50 people to 250 people or whatever. But Jerry Lynn was probably the nicest person I ever talked to in the industry. That was awesome.
Do you have any favorite matches from your independent days? Because I can name one that was kind of offhand, but then again, I haven't seen too many of your matches. But do you have a favorite matchup that you remember back in the independent days?
From when I was a serious competitor in some respects, when I was kind of booking my own show, and it was pretty much in my blood at the time. In the year 2001, I wrestled one of my best friends in the industry. His real name's Pat Dunn, and he wound up going off to the Marines and really a career kind of Army guy, Marine guy,
right.
Military guy. There you go. after that. But and he wrestled his wrestling character name was Shags. That was in 2001. That was probably one of my more favorite matches from that time. That and the times I got in the ring with Superstar. Also, Anna Crucix, we did a hardcore match once. That was also in 2001. And then I took a long break, and we did sort of like a retirement tour between 2011 and 2012. And that spans 12 months. I actually really enjoyed just about all the matches I was in, just because I think I had a chance to really step back and critique myself and fix things that I wasn't doing very well, and also heal up. I'm a lot better shape now than I was in my early 20s, which is sort of weird, but I'm about 45 pounds lighter now than I was then, so I was able to do more in the ring. But I'd say my favorite match probably of all time is the main event of our reunion show that we just did in 2012, actually. That was a triple threat match between myself, Seth Venison, and Superstar. That was probably my favorite of all time. I think that was a really good match.
Yeah, I remember back in when you were working with UWF, I was just starting to get to know guys like, DJ Riley, Steve Yeager. Got to see Mark Preby do his job. But I remember your matchup really stood out. The one that you had with Stone Cold Shark when it was, hair versus vest. That
oh, God.
Yeah, that matchup just really kind of stood out to me. And I just remember somebody uploading one of the videos, I think it was on dailymotion.com or something like that, like the aftermath of you taking like 3 stunners and you getting pinned 1, 2, 3. You were all loopy and unconscious. And, Shark's just shaving your head and you just wake up saying, "Did I win?" It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, that was funny. My hair had been receding and thinning for years, and I just said, I never had, at the time I was shaving my head all the time, but when someone asked me to come, when they booked me to wrestle, when Steve actually got in contact with me, and he's like, "Hey, you're thinking about coming back and doing wrestling?" And I'm like, "I would, but I've lost so much hair." And then we thought it'd be funny if I grew out my hair for like 4 or 5 months, and then we had a hair versus like hair match or something like that. And then I'd have my head shaved, and then I wouldn't have to worry about it. I'd always be bald from there on out. Because that's how it works in wrestling. When a wrestler gets their head shaved, they're bald forever.
Oh,
so it's perfect.
So you're kind of living up to the moniker of the hair versus hair or hair versus vest in this case deal.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah.
Was there ever any talk about going to
Shark is a great parody of Stone Cold Steve Austin, though.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Was there any talk about having the matchup being reversed where you would be winning the vest and having a future feud going down the line?
It's a UWF, because this is the crazy thing about it. They had folded right after that show.
Right, I remember that.
There was never another show that they did together. There was a lot of drama going on backstage. Yeah. I don't know half of it, and I don't care to know half of it, but because I'd lived it before. I'd already gone through that years before, and I'm just starting to make amends with all the people that I had either crossed or crossed me or whatever. We just kind of let bygones be bygones or whatever, and we're all much closer now than we ever were back then even. But whatever was going on then, it just imploded, and the ring wound up being sold or something like that. I don't know what all exactly happened, but that was their last show, was the UWF, I don't even know what, I think it was like February or March of 2011. And the comical idea that we had was that Shark and I were going to become a tag team after that. They had wound up doing some sort of an idea, or they had some kind of a booking idea down the pipeline where Shark was going to get another shot at some kind of a major title or something, and it was going to be against a couple of heels who were going to be cheating, and then I was going to come out and help him. And he's the guy that shaved my head, so why would I be wanting to do that other than just to become like his partner, like saying he's helped me, and now I've understood that I should be a real man now, and I've got my head shaved, and now I've got myself my own vest. I dress just like him. It'd be the most ridiculous storyline ever, but I think that's what the plan was, to go down that road. And I don't know. Who knows if it would have been funny or not, but...
Yeah, I remember when I first came down, I think it was in November before the final year, there was actually a lot of talks that, working with, getting a chance to actually have a match with Mark Preby, but then my accident happened, and we had so much decided going on for what I was going to do. I was going to do the match with Preby, lose to him, and then me and Devin, DJ Riley, were going to do our thing. And we never got that chance to do it because I was injured from the car accident, and also
I do recall that. I remember you were there. You were in crutches, I think.
I was in first I was in a wheelchair, and then the second show I think I was either using a cane or a crutch or something like that.
Yeah.
But I still did the whole thing with DJ, choking me against the ring, just saying like, "Oh, why didn't you put me on the card? Why didn't you put me on the card? I'm gonna be the future world champion. Why'd you do that?" And and I honestly thought that the match would never happen. But then talking with Steve and Devin, we finally got the chance to have the match between me and Devin in my backyard wrestling thing. We had 2 pretty good matches, an I Quit match, and then a kind of hardcore send-off match, because that was the last match he was going to have in Wisconsin. He was going to move to, I think, Washington or something like that. But I loved working with Devin. He was always trying to find ways to make me look good and just say, "Oh, okay, when you're taking this, you got to react this way. You got to make sure that the match flows well." And it was just awesome working with Steve and Devin.
That's awesome.
It was quite a thing. So going from that independent deal to another independent deal, gonna do a short little plug here. Ring of Honor's coming to Milwaukee in November, and you've been very high on Ring of Honor. What were your thoughts on when Jay Lethal won the unified TV championship and world championship?
Well, Ring of Honor crowning Jay Lethal with their world title. He's got the world title and the TV title now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's done a lot for them. They seem to everyone is saying finally Jay Lethal gets the recognition he deserves. Finally, he's on all these news shows. He's getting all this coverage. I think Bleacher Report did this top 10 wrestlers of 2015. They listed Jay Lethal as number 1 because he's just been on fire. He's on a huge winning streak. He's been TV champion for over a year. It's really bizarre because I am absolutely the other spectrum of this whole concept. I am not a Jay Lethal fan.
Really?
I don't know what it is. I would rather see Jay Briscoe or Adam Cole or AJ Styles. Any one of those 3 could be champions. They could even throw it on Austin Aries when he comes back. I just think Jay Lethal is as boring a character as I just have ever seen. It is so 1980s heel, and that's fine. I love 1980s heel, but I'm not talking WWF heel. I'm talking NWA, AWA style, 80s heel. He's got this generic manager that comes out and cheats whenever he can. Jay Lethal is a very, very accomplished, very good wrestler. I have got nothing against his technical abilities. I'm just bored to tears with him. Every match of his is the same. I have no interest in it. When he became champion, I almost kind of fell off. I love Ring of Honor. They're great. The wrestling is the best the U.S. has to offer. I mean, the only thing you can compare it with in the world is New Japan, and New Japan is an entire different level above everyone else. The only reason I would say compare it to it is because they have a really strong relationship with each other, and Ring of Honor sends their guys to Japan, and Japan sends their guys over here to the U.S. to wrestle in Ring of Honor, and it's beautiful. I'd say the weakest portion of Ring of Honor right now is the main event scene because Jay Lethal is going to be in every main event match, and it just puts me to sleep, man. I mean, it really puts me to sleep. I know in November they're doing a tour, or they're doing some kind of show. Maybe it's not November, maybe it's October or November, but they're bringing back some New Japan guys, and one of the matches is Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. That will be amazing. That will be amazing.
Yeah, well, we'll get more into the New Japan deal in a bit, but is there anybody right now that you think could, either take Lethal's TV title or his world title at this point? You mentioned, AJ Styles, Adam Cole, and Wes Briscoe. Is there anybody else that might have a chance? I mean, since they're going to Milwaukee, obviously they're going to really probably hype up, I think the guy's name is Silas Young.
Silas Young is my favorite Ring of Honor wrestler right now. So if I had it my way, if it was my dream, I'd say put the TV title on him and let him run with that for a while. Silas Young is hilarious. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. He's like a mix of Tom Selleck and Jesse the Body Ventura. His voice is awesome. His body work is great. I think we're just talking about 80s style wrestling, but God, he's got that 80s style all perfect. It's just, he's great. He's such a classic, awesome heel. I think he's hilarious, and he's a good worker, too. I love the send-off Kevin Steen feud they did last year, where when Steen's final couple matches in his last feud was with Silas Young. I thought those matches were fantastic, and I was really surprised that Ring of Honor didn't elevate Silas Young to some sort of a main event scene, or at least, upper mid card with that. They're just still using him as a curtain jerker. It's really strange, but yeah, I love Silas Young. That would be my guy. Otherwise, if you wanted to make a splash right now, I'd put the world title on AJ Styles and then have him wrestle in a big match at Wrestle Kingdom 10 in January with the Ring of Honor Championship around his waist. I think that'd be great.
That would actually be pretty cool. What do you think about the tag team champions, the Addiction, Daniels and Kaz?
They're perfect. That wouldn't change a thing. That's absolutely fantastic. That TNA letting those guys go was such a gigantic mistake. I mean, this whole last 24 months, I could tell you far more mistakes that TNA has made than good accomplishments. I mean, just mistake after mistake, allowing these people to leave, thinking they could bring in these kind of cookie-cutter-looking ex-NXT, ex-WWE guys. It just sucks.
Flat out, just sucks. Yeah, I know that TNA has been kind of struggling, especially, I know Dixie Carter's kind of made some bonehead moves on Twitter, stating, I think, some things against Destination America, who they're trying to keep a TV deal going because they're expiring next month. So it's like, you can't talk bad about these guys. You can't just say...
I don't know. It's really strange. Dixie Carter's a bonehead. She should just be cashing checks or whenever they don't bounce, I guess. And that's about it. And let the wrestling up to everyone else, even especially the publicity part of it, because she's terrible at it. She's terrible at promoting. She's terrible at trying to network, social networking side of it. She's just awful. And I don't know. TNA, listen, they've put on some really good shows. I thought their first live episode they did on Destination America in January was really cool. It was a fun episode. Everything they did late last year with Wrestle One, with oh my God, what's his name? I'm trying to say with the Great Muta. And Tajiri and everything, even with Sonata, was cool. It was really good, but this year they put on solid wrestling shows, but there's just nothing going on. There's just nothing to get excited about. They're not building up to anything. And whenever it does feel like they're building up to something, it gets, screwed up in the end. It was building up a little bit to Slammiversary, but then they wound up screwing up the dates with their pay-per-view provider and with the company, that Destination America or whatever.
Right.
And so they wound up having a world title match on TNA. Joe and Austin Aries and Loki, and you go almost every 2 weeks. There's another person with their contract stuff that they just let go. But you could have done something with EC3, having them ending their careers or something. That would have been kind of cool, building up to this big thing. Because what big matches does he have under his belt? As far as big accomplishments to where he's at now. I know he's beaten Bobby Lashley. That's a big one. And he beat Kurt Angle for the belt. That's a big one. I know he did technically beat Sting in Sting's last TNA match, but that was with so much interference. I didn't count that.
Oh, man. That was just horrible. That was when they were in a really dark age in their career where they just had, and it really discredited Magnus so much, because I thought Magnus was going to be a great world champion, but as soon as he...
I don't know. They were talking about TNA and their championship scene. If I were going to make some kind of splash, I mean, honestly, right now, if they're building up to... They already got Bound for Glory books and everything. I know there's spoilers, and I won't spoil anything. What they should do is try to do some kind of a big splash in the upcoming year or around New Year's, and that would be have an EC3 lose, his first person that he loses to, and he loses the championship belt. And I would have it be to one of TNA's biggest names that has never been a champion yet. You know who I'm talking about?
Thinking Drew Galloway?
Nope. I'm talking Awesome Kong.
Awesome Kong?
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
I think that'd be crazy, because we're right now in an era in time when everyone is looking to get behind some sort of equality issue or equality storyline, and women are being told, oh my God, the Women's World Cup. Oh my God, UFC, the biggest star in UFC, is a woman right now. Imagine putting the World Heavyweight Championship on Awesome Kong. She is the only legitimate female wrestler that could do it, too. She's bigger than Ethan Carter III. She's stronger. She needs, some kind of something to do, because they brought her back in January.
Right.
And they have her like almost winning the Knockouts title once a month, but she keeps getting screwed out of it, and then she's just like, oh well, yeah. And she doesn't like just invoke her revenge like she used to. She used to take out like 6-7 people at a time and just leave them in a bloody mess in the ring. I mean, she used to just dominate everyone she was in the ring with, and she did wrestle men before. She did in Japan, and she did on TNA even. I think that would be a brilliant move, and it would be like perfect too, because the only guy that could take it and A, be mocked about it, and B, be able to rebound from it would be a guy like EC3, who's got the mic skills to be able to say like, okay, yeah, I got beat by a woman, but I wasn't ready. I had a bad neck. My back was hurting. Like all these excuses that would just be hilarious. And then they could do something later, 2 months down the road and have him win the title back or something like that, because wrestling is always more interesting when a heel is champion, because you got to have the faces doing the chasing.
Right.
Otherwise, what are people going to talk about TNA about? Oh, Bobby Roode has won the title again. It's great. We love Bobby Roode, great wrestler, but am I going to tune in and watch? Am I going to pay the extra $14 a month for my cable provider to get Destination America? Probably not. But if Awesome Kong won the championship and she was on a live mic in the middle of the ring holding the belt, yeah, I kind of want to see that live. Like, I kind of want to see that happen.
The funny thing you mentioned, Awesome Kong, they really hyped up the whole, promoter's dream match between her and Havoc, and I was honestly looking forward to seeing that. I thought it was going to be...
I was too.
Good match of the year. And I thought it was going to be like an actual rivalry. I thought they were going to do like so much more, but then when they just did one match...
Just a match. It was one match, and it was probably about 6 minutes long.
Yeah, that was...
They have a tendency to do that, because they're preparing for a TV show. They're barely building up to any pay-per-views anymore. They got 2 a year. It's crazy. And the build-up for these pay-per-views are a joke. They don't even talk about it until like 2 weeks before. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to throw all these matches together.
For no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't even remember if Awesome Kong was even on Slammiversary. I watched it, but I had no memory of what she did on it. She was re-signed. All these great things were promised to her. They could have done a lot of really cool things when they did that European tour. They could have brought back the alpha female again. She's a real strong chick who just can go in there and really kick the shit out of everybody. They could have done something with her and Awesome Kong. They could have done something with Havoc, and I know they're doing something now with that Lady Papa or whatever. That's Barbarian's daughter.
Yeah.
And she's pretty good, but she's not in Awesome Kong's league. Like, not even close.
Yeah. I think that, I thought that this whole thing with, GFW teaming up with TNA might help, but I don't know if it's going to help them more or it's going to hinder them more. I mean, granted, you get to see guys like Chris Masters again, Sanjay Dutt, guys like, what is it?
PJ Black.
PJ Black. Oh, man. When he won the, King of the Mountain Championship at, the night before, I thought that was awesome. I'm thinking, well, this is a guy, who was overlooked by WWE for so long, and he's still doing amazing. And I thought his match
Yeah, he is good, and they just had a match 2 minutes ago. EC3 defended his championships against PJ Black. It was a very good match. It was awesome. They're that's a good thing for EC3. He got another win under his belt, but it wasn't under anybody that's been proven. It's somebody that's been there for 2 weeks. So yeah, I really do like the TNA GFW angle, this whole idea that they have where they're not merging two companies, but it's two companies feuding over belts, and it's basically one company is piggybacking off of another one for publicity. It's very similar. It's very similar to what ECW and the WWF had relationship-wise in '96. It was 18 years ago, but that's what it reminds me of a little bit. You got the guys in the ring that just don't work with each other very often. They can tell they don't really like each other, and it's I'm only here because Jeff told me to, and we're putting on GFW matches now, and this is what we do. And the best thing about TNA right now is the Wolves, the American Wolves.
Oh, definitely.
They're so good. They're so good.
I did find it kind of funny how they was it Eddie Edwards it was Eddie Edwards, who got injured, and the Hardys won the title, and then Jeff got his leg broke, he got injured, and then did the whole best of 3, best of 5 with Dirty Heels, and they eventually wound up being the champions again. So it's you might as well just left the titles on hold and then just say, oh hey, you didn't miss out on much, so here you go.
The weird thing about it is when someone gets hurt, they're out for 2 months, but they don't tape more than every 2 months. So they really could have just they could have just forgot about it and just never vacated the titles and maybe went a couple weeks without them having any defendings or something, and then they'd just been back and no one would have cared. No one would have noticed, no one would have anything. But yeah, the title's been vacated, I think, 3 times since the Wolves have been champions once.
That's the same thing that they did with Brock Lesnar last year. I mean, he showed up when he showed up, he defended the title. So.
He wrestled like 3 times over a 6-month span, so yeah.
Roughly. But now going from TNA to something very, very sad to something more exciting, the future, NXT. I know you've spoken very highly about it, and NXT has been definitely one of the, the second brand from Raw and SmackDown, WWE, even though people are saying, oh no, this is still the same thing. You look at NXT, and you definitely could tell there's a big difference between their booking and the way WWE books, and obviously, Triple H is mainly behind it. And actually what was funny is that one person, I think it was another podcast guy I listened to, Solomonster, he mentioned that it seemed like NXT only had like 1 or 2, writers on there, and WWE has like about 30. And it's like,
yeah, I believe that. Yeah,
it's like, okay, so you have all these writers in WWE, and you're coming up with all these shit matches, and you're having this whole Divas Revolution deal. Why not have maybe 2 or 3 of those writers focus on that storyline instead of
I know,
having all hands on deck? But
yeah, it's really strange. Yeah, NXT, in my opinion, is a much more polished, much more professional, much more exciting brand. I mean, it's really, and it sucks because I like Ring of Honor a lot, but it's Vince and it's Triple H mainly. He wanted to get a hold of that, 15 to 20% of wrestling fans that love that style of wrestling, that old school, traditional style, kind of Attitude Era, kind of, Ring of Honor, old school TNA, the indie style of wrestling. They wanted to capture that, and NXT is just like Ring of Honor, but it's better. Like, it's better. It's more, it's all of the production quality alone, and it just crushes Ring of Honor. If Ring of Honor wanted to tout anything right now, they could basically say, like, we're kind of like NXT. Watch us. We're just like NXT. Because that's what Triple H has done, is he's made a WWE version of Ring of Honor. And it's awesome. Their show is so similar to what Ring of Honor used to do on the HD network. I don't remember that HD net or whatever it was. Years ago. But it's so funny, like, William Regal is the general manager. For a time being on Ring of Honor on HD net, Ric Flair was the general manager. I don't know if you knew that or not. Before he came to TNA in 2010, in 2009, he was the general manager of Ring of Honor. And it was so cool. Like, it was a good show. The matches were old school, long, interesting. They did have the women's wrestling, and they were really good. And God, they had, Adam Cole, Kevin Steen, John Moxley, and it was, all those guys before. They're huge now, with being Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and it's just crazy. It's interesting.
I think I love NXT, but then when they bring them to WWE, it's really bad what they do with them, because it's like, you're going to be hot and white hot in, NXT, you're going to be something really major, but then as soon as they cross over to WWE, usually takes about a couple matches, and then they're kind of just like another peg in the show.
Out, I think Adrian Neville is the perfect example of that, because when he debuted, it was like, wow, and he took John Cena all the way to his limit. He took Seth Rollins to his limit, but he
that match was
every
awesome.
Single time. I think it was him and Jericho that wrestled in Japan.
Yeah, it was.
God, that was great. I mean, this Neville guy is such an amazing worker. If he's not like some sort of main eventing, machine years from now, they'll completely miss the boat on him, and I wouldn't doubt it if they do. It is really weird. They do bring in these NXT guys and then just let them fizzle. It's weird.
I think one of the best examples of that, I've said this so many times, I'm not going to let it go, was definitely the Ascension, because those guys were just on a rampage. They only lost like maybe a couple matches in NXT to Lucha Dragons.
Are you talking about the Ascension? Did you say the Ascension?
I did say the Ascension. What did somebody say? The Demolition LOD ripoffs, apparently they're usually called. But But no, I honestly thought that they needed to have like some kind of dominating tag team, and even when I saw live main event, they were saying like, oh, they were the most dominant tag team, we're the most bone crushing, and blah 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 blah. They do the whole, welcome to the wasteland, and I look at this and I think, I would believe that if you guys won a match like, for like at least a month straight, but
I know
they haven't done anything. The last major thing they did was like eliminate 2 teams in the Elimination Chamber tag match, and then they got eliminated by future tag team champions, the Primetime Players.
Yep.
And same thing with Lucha Dragons. They were white hot. They were doing so awesome, and then they lose to these guys. I forget.
I know when they came to the main roster, which is sort of funny because I think NXT is a better show.
Yeah.
But when they came to their WWE's main roster, they put them in the ring with jobbers week after week, and they kept having the commentators make note of this. Like, they were mocking it. I remember JBL specifically was saying, these guys think they're so tough, Michael. They think they're so tough, but they ain't been in the ring with nobody yet, Michael.
Jeez.
And then they would just go on. And then finally when they did get in the ring with someone tough, they kind of beat the shit out of them, and then everybody just kind of looked at them as a joke since then. It's not to say that they won't eventually come around again and be a dominant tag team, but it's like they were doomed from the get-go. It was really strange. Like, they came out and they pulled a Ryback, right? Like, Ryback, when he came out as Ryback, he squashed nobodies. Like, every week they had him coming out just beating up nobodies. He was taking on 2 or 3 guys at once. And Michael Cole wasn't saying, like, well, these guys are nobodies. They were saying, like, he's beating 3 guys at once right now. He just picked up 3 guys at once right now. It's so weird. Like, you guys are the worst commentary team on the planet. Like, they can make or break people, and they do every week.
Yeah. Well, now going into the show tomorrow night, the NXT Takeover in Brooklyn. It's definitely hyped up to be something very major, and one of the matches I'm looking forward to is going to be for the NXT Women's Championship, Bayley versus Sasha Banks. What are your thoughts on both Sasha and Bayley as far as, how their work ethic goes and how their just in-ring performance goes?
I think Sasha Banks is probably the best NXT female wrestler, and I know that probably it's kind of crazy to say, with Charlotte being still and one of the women's female ladies, but female ladies as well. One of the female competitors.
Superstars.
Awesome. Sasha Banks is probably the best, though, and I don't know what you do with that. It's a little weird because she hasn't brought the belt with her to the main roster. So I kind of think they're going to have her drop the belt. And you said it was to Bayley? Is that who she's wrestling?
Yeah, she's wrestling Bayley.
I think that makes sense, because Bayley's one that didn't come up with the rest of them. And I think that Bayley would be a great wrestler to work with the rest of the division that is coming up, or whoever's next coming up from NXT. I mean, I know there's still Emma, and there's still a few other ones that are there. But I think Bayley would be the best one to put in that position. If they're going to use everyone else on the main roster for, who knows how long, then Bayley would be the perfect fit to stay in NXT and keep that belt.
Yeah, I think somebody said this, and I completely agree with this statement, that Bayley was definitely what people want to see when it comes to a female wrestler. Not a superstar, but a wrestler. She just looks the part, she acts the part, she's very dedicated, and I think that when she had that the contract signing between her and Sasha, did the whole deal where Sasha was just making it seem like, oh, you're a nobody and you're always going to be a nobody. Everybody's always expecting, Bayley's going to be like this nice girl, she's going to be happy. Sasha leaves the ring, and Bayley just, beelines, just beats the crap out of Sasha, and it's just like one of those things everybody was looking forward to. Everybody's looking forward to seeing Bayley at her breaking point, and then finally the chance of, Bayley's going to hug you just changes from Bayley's gonna kill you, Bayley's gonna kill you.
Yep.
Oh, man. Another tag team match. Well, actually, now we're going into the whole Japanese thing that we were talking about. Having Fusion Thunder Liger finally make a debut in WWE against Tyler Breeze. What are your thoughts on that match?
That's amazing. Like, this whole idea is amazing. Jushin Thunder Liger has been a staple in Japanese lore and in wrestling, and in the agreement between Ring of Honor and New Japan over the last few years has brought Jushin Thunder Liger to American soil, but he's always wrestled in Ring of Honor. Now you have this idea that he's going to wrestle for the WWE at an NXT show which I believe has the same city that like Ring of Honor is running a show in. Aren't they running a show during SummerSlam weekend somewhere in the same area, like somewhere around New York, like it's in Manhattan or something? Or
somebody was actually saying that, and they were saying like NXT, like Triple H was trying to go head to head with NXT and just beat out Ring of Honor, and Triple H just said
crazy
like, no,
because, and then I guess Ring of Honor has done a couple things now, where recently trying to say, hey, your agreement is with us. Like, what's going on here? And what New Japan has basically said, like, listen, Jushin Thunder Liger is an independent contractor. We pay him per appearance. He comes here. He's not under contract to New Japan. He is his own entity. He is like a superstar among superstars, He is not a Shinsuke Nakamura or even, Okada or anything like that. Those are New Japan wrestlers. Like, they go where New Japan wants them to do their own and work for New Japan. Jushin Thunder Liger is his own thing. So he can go work wherever he wants to. And if he wants to sign a one-time deal with WWE to show up on NXT, that's amazing. Like, that's so exciting.
Yeah. You picking Liger over Breeze?
I actually hope... Okay, I don't know all the matches that are going to happen tomorrow night, but I'm just anxiously awaiting it to happen. I'm not exactly sure all the matches that are going to happen, but I can give you all my predictions if you want. Yeah, but I'm going to say Liger. I wish Liger would go over, but I doubt he will. He's so good. Like, he's so willing to put over other people. It's so amazing. Like, I think it was just this last year, or maybe it was the year before, where he faced Adam Cole, and Cole went over, and Jushin Thunder Liger wants to shake his hand at the end, and of course it's Adam Cole, so he's too cocky to do it. And it's just like, man. Oh well, we still had a good match. He just claps and then cheers for him and has the crowd cheering for him and stuff. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I think that's what I was kind of going through. I was kind of going through like match by match, giving like thoughts on it, and then going into predictions. So I think we both are in agreement that Bayley's going over Sasha, because honestly, who better? But I think I'm gonna go with Liger on this one, because as talented as Tyler Breeze is, I think having a good showing in this deal would definitely help him, but I just don't see him, conquering somebody like a veteran like Liger. I think it's just one of those things that's going to help him, but not.
I hope you're right. I still think that Breeze is going to go over. I think that WWE wants to show the world, like, we have all these NXT guys, these indie darlings, but we're going to show you how much better our homegrown talent is better than these guys. So that's my fear. Rooting for Liger, I bet the other guy's going to win.
All right. So, since we're still on the Ring of Honor deal, one of Ring of Honor's biggest, assets, Samoa Joe, is going one-on-one with Baron Corbin. Thoughts on that?
I'm not a fan of Baron Corbin. He seems like he's all right, but I don't get it. Like, I don't know. He's had some feuds with some goofballs, and I don't know. His match with Rhino, I've seen Rhino work. Rhino's a good worker. He's kind of just, I don't know. They push him as this big, tall, incredibly powerful guy, and he is. He's really strong, and he's big. And he's just not that big, and his tone is weird. He's not toned. He's kind of flabby looking. I don't know. I hope Samoa Joe goes over. I'm a humongous Samoa Joe fan.
Same
Joe
here.
should be, he should be there for 3 months and then off the main event roster. He should be a special, a mystery entrant or a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble and then wrestle at WrestleMania. That's where Samoa Joe should be. Joe is awesome. And he's lost some weight, he's in good shape, he's in the best, wrestling condition of his life. Joe should go over. Joe should squash this punk. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Baron Corbin's going to win, and it's going to suck.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I'm definitely going with Samoa Joe. I think that, despite this role that, Baron Corbin is on, I just don't think it's going to trounce, Samoa Joe, because, well, let's face it, A, it's Samoa Joe, and B, as far as, wrestling-wise, Samoa Joe just outclasses Baron Corbin on, like, 20 different levels, and nobody can deny that.
That's true.
All right, so NXT Tag Team Championships. Blake and Murphy, no-face, no-name guys who I really do not understand why they're even in the tag team title picture, facing against, I think, your guys, the Vaudevillains.
I love the Vaudevillains. They're actually really getting a title shot?
They're getting a title shot at... well, actually, they had a title shot, I think, a couple weeks ago. Then Alexa Bliss got involved, cost them the match. But now Regal's granting them another rematch at Brooklyn. But they said, you better have somebody who can, match up with, Alexa Bliss, because otherwise you're going to be at a one-person disadvantage. And this past Wednesday on NXT, I think they were coming out saying, like, we have somebody, but Alexa Bliss just slapped him, like, twice before even talking, and then Vaudevillains are just like, all right, you want the surprise? We'll just wait then. They after the second slap, they're just like, all right, fine, whatever.
I love the Vaudevillains. I think they're fantastic. They have great characters. They're good wrestlers. I really, really like the Vaudevillains. I think they're my favorite tag team in the world right now, other than Christopher Daniels and Kazarian.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I love them. I love the Vaudevillains. God, if they could win the tag title, that'd be so cool. Great.
Well, I'm going Vaudevillains because I think right now they have a little more established name than, Blake and Murphy, or whatever their names are. When they won the tag team titles from Lucha Dragons, I'm just like, who are these guys? Where do they even come from?
I know. It's really weird, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm hoping that they drop the titles to, Vaudevillains. Anyway, going from there to the main event, Finn Balor defending the NXT title against Kevin Owens in a ladder match. They are promoting it as, like, one of the most brutal matches in NXT. Hard to deny that. What can we expect from this matchup?
It's going to be fantastic. Finn Balor is going to retain.
I agree. I've been a been Finn Balor fan for quite a long time, and I thought in the Beast from the East event, I honestly thought that was going to be the main event, and the way that they hyped it up, especially the Japan crowd,
was really weird.
The Japan crowd was so into it, and I'm thinking they should have been the main event. This should have been the one that they would have wanted to see last, but instead they had a generic John Cena matchup where
I know, just in a boring main event that was just silly.
The only retribution was that they said, during the main event after Ziggler and Cena won, they're just like, but the main thing we want to focus on is Finn Balor winning the title. It's like, it's a little past that right now. I'm sure most of the fans are probably left by now. So,
yep.
way to plan this, way to promote this, guys.
Well, the Beast from the East is a great show. I'm really thinking Finn Balor's going to go over, going to keep the belt, and then, I don't know, good luck to Kevin Owens on the main roster, and I hope he doesn't get squashed, because I think throwing him in the John Cena fighters right off the bat was, I think, a good idea. It was cool, but, man, when they had him squashed, not to say that they were squash matches, but having it so that he just could not beat him, all those extra times after the first time, and
yeah.
He's kind of on a losing streak, and he's going to have to go through a lot of that shit. I'm sure Cesaro is going to be able to show him just like, listen, you're going to go through about 10 months of losing. Just stay strong, keep your head up, work hard, and everything will turn out all right, because now Cesaro's back in a really good spot again. So,
yeah, well, we'll get into SummerSlam in a minute, but I wanted to ask you this. In your opinion, what is the difference between, getting buried and getting put over? Because I know a lot of people are always confused about that. Like, every single time somebody usually wins, it's like, oh, that person's getting buried, Or, especially with Cena, they're saying like,
it really, you can lose all the time. And here's a perfect example. Chris Jericho. He is a career loser. And I love Jericho. Jericho's a great wrestler, but he is an enhancement guy through and through. He has been world champion. He has won humongous matches. He's beaten Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock in the same night. He unified the WCW and WWF belts. I mean, the guy is king of the world, but he is enhancing. He enhances everyone. The fucker has lost to Fandango at WrestleMania. There's no bigger loser in the world than Chris Jericho. Yet, the only time he's ever been squashed or buried was by the hands of the guy that is the master of burying people, and he is born with a shovel, and that's Triple H. Triple H buries people and puts over very few people. You can get buried in a wrestling promo. You could get buried without ever even wrestling in a match. It's a really strange thing. Like, Kevin Owens coming out and losing 2 matches in a row to John Cena wasn't necessarily him getting buried. It's the fact that after that, John Cena didn't even have Kevin Owens on his radar anymore. Even when Kevin took John Cena to his limit, like the first time beating him, and then two more matches, two of the best John Cena matches we've ever seen, or three of the best John Cena matches anybody's ever seen. They were so good. But they had Kevin Owens coming out on Raw and losing in tag team matches and losing to Randy Orton and this and then that and getting disqualified. And it's like, all your momentum, man, is kind of gone. So when Sami Zayn does get healthy again and comes back and say January or whatever and say he does go after Kevin Owens, you know, if he beats Kevin Owens, is it going to really mean that much? Because Owens has been on a pretty sloppy streak, you know.
Yeah.
But you can get over and be put over even when losing a match. Case here. Here's my point to this one. WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin against Bret Hart with Ken Shamrock as a special guest referee. Bret Hart put over Stone Cold Steve Austin in that match, even though Bret Hart won that match. Up until that point, people were kind of getting into Steve Austin. They're like, yeah, he's pretty awesome, he's good. But he's not really that great. He's never been over that hump. They did that match at WrestleMania where it went for 40-some minutes. They got some of the most brutal chair shots I've ever seen. And that's the thing, is like you can go through tables, you can fall off ladders, you can do all this crazy, crazy bumps and stuff. But man, the chair shots that they took in that match were brutal and beautiful. I loved that match. It was just an absolute work of art from start to finish. It was perfect, the style and everything. Bret Hart could do these types of matches, and that's one huge thing that's missing from wrestling today is just Bret Hart being in the ring, or a wrestler that's the style of Bret Hart. But at the end, Steve Austin's in the sharpshooter. He's locked in. He's in the middle of the ring, blood gushing out of his forehead onto the mat, and he passes out. And, you know, the match ends. Shamrock calls for the bell. Bret Hart's got the hold. He holds it in, though. Bret Hart came into that match as a face. Stone Cold was the heel. Stone Cold was the cheater. Stone Cold was trying so hard to get over as a bad guy. And the longer Bret held in that sharpshooter, the more this crowd started to chant Stone Cold, Stone Cold. Because it's like, he's passed out, but we want this match to keep going. We feel bad now because he's just been beaten so brutally. And he wouldn't let go of the sharpshooter. Finally, Shamrock gets in there, and he wrestles his arms out loose, and he gets him off of it, and he's like, okay, you're done. Leave him alone. And Bret goes outside, and he comes back into the ring, and he starts kicking him while he's down, and he just keeps him around, and the Shamrock finally picks him up, and he throws him off to the side, and he's like, what the hell are you doing, man? The match is over. And Bret's like, leave me alone. I want to end this now. And there's been so many crazy things. Like Steve Austin was the heel. He hurt like Bret. He tried to like break his leg. He broke Brian Pillman's leg in a chair earlier, but the crowd didn't care. They just were so impressed by the way that Austin would not give up. And it was like he lost the match, yet Bret put him over in that manner. It's just, there's ways that, and then being buried is amazing. You can just be put down on a mic, and you know, if Triple H is there with a microphone and you're standing across the arena and he starts making fun of you and calling you some kind of name, and you just look like a fool standing there holding a microphone, and you get in the ring and you get beat by him, it's like, well, that was sucky. There's ways to put people over by beating them. There's ways to bury people by beating them, and it sucks. It sucks happening. It sucks when it happens. Cesaro was buried for a good year after he won that Andre the Giant Battle Royal at WrestleMania 30.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was nobody bigger and nobody more excited for Cesaro after that happened. Like, they should have kept him going on a really hot streak. I don't care where he would... I don't necessarily think he'd be headlining WrestleMania 31 by any means, but he could have been one of those guys that challenged Lesnar during the time Lesnar was champ or something instead of more John Cena. You know, they could have done Cesaro. It would have been a perfect replacement. It would have been exciting, would have been interesting, even if he just got to the main event and got beat by Lesnar, which would most likely happen anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just buried him. He came out and he just lost over and over again. It was like all that momentum was gone.
Yeah, it's always sad seeing that. I think that's a great analogy. I can't add on to that. I think that was just perfect. All right, so going on from that, we're going into the SummerSlam predictions. You know, I'm just picking off random matches I'm finding on the good old Wikipedia, because we all know, if it's on Wikipedia, it must be true.
It's always true. Always.
Always true. Okay. All right, so let's start off with the rematch from Battleground. Randy Orton versus Sheamus. No stipulation, no different kind of matchup. I don't even know if I want to even pick a winner for this one, because I was excited to see it during Battleground. I'm thinking, okay, it's St. Louis, Missouri, hometown boy, definitely going to get the win. But now there's like nothing behind this one, so it's like it's just a regular match. Nobody's gonna get into this. You kidding me? But if I have to pick, I'm thinking Randy Orton's gonna go over again, just so Sheamus looks, weaker.
Yeah. No, Orton.
All right. So we go into, let's see, what's the next one? All right. Oh, okay. Here we go. This was just added on Monday. Going to be Dolph Ziggler with Lana in his corner versus Rusev with Summer Rae, aka Lana 2.0, in his corner.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much. WrestleMania is going to be a pretty good show, but there's so much. Like, I'm just hoping they're entertaining matches. I have no predictions. I don't know. I don't necessarily know. I mean, if you have Rusev lose, then what? Because, my God, this guy was being pushed to the moon a year ago, and now here we are.
Right.
If you have Dolph Ziggler lose, then what? I mean, the guy's all over the place. He can recover from being buried anyway. So I have kind of no feelings about this one either way. I'm not excited about it. I like Dolph Ziggler as a wrestler. I think he's got the worst gimmick in the world, though. Gimmick meaning name. I think his name's terrible.
Oh, okay.
His gimmick is just kind of a generic, 80s version of Billy Gunn.
Yeah,
but,
I can see that.
I don't know. I would say you got to put Rusev over to keep him serious. Otherwise, you have Dolph Ziggler go over, and then what? I don't know. I got nothing.
I think I would put Dolph Ziggler over and maybe have them continue feud. Maybe it can spoil into the Intercontinental Championship with, whoever the winner is of that matchup. I think that's the only way you can keep it maybe relevant. But, I think that Ziggler probably deserves it more than Rusev. I think Rusev can find a way to get back. He just needs to maybe have him face off against... actually, he probably could go against, Seth Rollins and probably get some much-needed, momentum from Rollins. But I think right now I'd have to go with Ziggler. So, going from that to the 3-team elimination match, Team Bella versus Team Bad versus Team PCB, sorry. The Divas Revolution matchup, we might as well call it. I'd have to go with PCB. I think that, despite the Bella Army being so dominant, I think that, Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch have made such a huge impact. And Sasha Banks, too, but I just think that, that PCB is going to be more...
Them not being together is kind of weird, but it's what is it? It's Charlotte and...
Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch.
And Becky Lynch. Yeah, I think you got to go with those three just because they're the best. But yeah, Sasha Banks is on that Team Bad or whatever. It's too bad for her because they suck. But yeah, I would say you're probably going to have the Charlotte team win just because the Bellas have been going over so much lately.
All right, so going into the epic tag team match, having the Red Arrow and the Green Arrow versus Stardust and the King of the Cosmos, King Barrett.
I'm sure you're going to have... You know what? This is weird because it's almost like the immovable object makes the what is it called? The
Irresistible Force?
Irresistible Force because Neville loses every match he's in. Stardust loses almost every match he's in, so they're going up against each other in team format. I think the actor is probably going to go over.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think this past Monday. No, it wasn't this past Monday. It was last week Monday, I think, when he did that whole angle with Stardust. I thought that was awesome. He looked good, getting in the ring. He looked very athletic, and I think his takedown to Stardust was just awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what Stephen Amell does in this matchup. So,
yeah.
All right, so going from that to, we just talked about this, Kevin Owens versus Cesaro.
Boy, this is a tough one. This is the first match you've mentioned that I'm actually really interested in. This is an interesting one. I'm going to have to say that I think that Cesaro should go over, but they both should go over. It's unfair that they have to wrestle each other, but oh man, it's going to be a great match. It's going to be really good. I'm thinking Cesaro's going to go over only because he's got more time in on the main roster, and Kevin Owens, oof, good. I mean, he's so good. he's going to also have a huge match on Saturday night at NXT. Boy, that would really suck. You're talking about burying people. Not to necessarily say he'd be buried, but if he lost in the main event of NXT and then he lost again at SummerSlam, that'd be a pretty sloppy weekend. So almost just with saying that, I think now I'm going to change my vote because Kevin Owens going over so that he can have a one-on-one weekend.
I think that I would go with Kevin Owens too, just because of the fact that I think, like you said, Cesaro has more time on the main roster, and I think he's going to, find ways to get back into that main event spot. But also, I think Kevin Owens could use that momentum, either going for the IC title, or I actually pitched the idea that they should have went with having Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins this year to have the Future versus the Architect battle between the two of them, and Triple H should be the special guest referee, and maybe Triple H does like a little swerve in the middle where Seth Rollins is going for the pin, get the 1, 2, but Triple H stops at 3 and just gets up from it, and then somehow they have a new person behind the Authority, and who knows, maybe that can help Rollins go into face, and if he goes into face, that could mean a possible Shield reunion, which I know we all want to see. WWE finally bring back the Shield. You're already getting the Wyatt family. That's one step closer to being perfect right now. Bring back the Shield. All right. So, so now we have the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the WWE Tag Team titles. The primetime players, Mr. Millions of Dollars versus Los Matadores versus Lucha Dragons versus New Day Sucks.
It's New Day Stocks.
New Day Stocks. Oh, really? Oh,
New Day Stocks. No, I think Lucha Dragons. I think they're absolutely fantastic, and it'd be really exciting to see something brand new and fresh as the WWE Tag Team Champions. It would make their tag team matches really awesome.
I agree.
I would be shocked. You said Matadors are in this one too?
Most Matadores, yeah.
Jeez. Ugh, they suck. I can't stand them. Either that or the New Day would be good, but we've already seen the New Day as tag champions, so I would go with Lucha Dragons. I think they'd be awesome as champs.
I mean, if you're looking for like a major shock vector, I think having Lucha Dragons go over would be the best way to do it. I mean, hell, they had the Miz and Mizdow win the tag team titles at Survivor Series last year, and that cost
them. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Now where's Mizdow now? He was doing the Macho Man deal with Curtis Axel. But then, of course, the Hogan controversy and...
Yep.
And now we lost out on something major. Anyway, going into the triple threat match for the tag team titles, because it did... Not triple threat tag team titles, Intercontinental title, because it didn't happen last month, so we got to retry again. Ryback versus Big Show versus The Miz. Why?
What are they trying to do with this?
I don't know.
This is just not good. I like Ryback. I think he's a fun guy. He's exciting. He needs to be in there with someone that can bump, someone that can make him look like a champ. Man, imagine how good a feud between Ryback and Adrian Neville would be. I mean, those matches would be amazing. Not to say that Ryback would do anything special, but he could pick that little guy up and throw him halfway across the ring. It would be awesome. Now we got Big Show and The Miz. Miz, I enjoy sometimes. I'm one of the few people that actually liked his main event run, his world title defense at WrestleMania 27 and successful defense.
You're going to bring that up?
I don't know. This match isn't interesting to me at all. And if Ryback doesn't retain, then I think that the WWE is crazy.
Yeah. The big tag team match, Wyatt family versus 2/3 of the Shield, Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. I think that this might...
This is just a weird match. It's just a bunch of geeks. It's like you guys all should be in better matches.
That being said, I think that this could actually be, match of the night, because even though they don't have, Eric Rowan and Seth Rollins in there, you can't deny that, first time they fought at, Elimination Chamber last year, it was
really good.
That should have been match of the year. I don't care what anybody else says. But I think that this matchup is going to be just as good, as long as Roman Reigns doesn't get his hands on the microphone or on Wyatt too much because of his slippery hands. But that's just me. I think that they've also been really hinting at the idea of having an Ambrose heel turn at at SummerSlam, which would be one of those things. Would that make any sense whatsoever?
I don't think that makes sense just because he's really, really hot right now. As far as the face, I mean, we were at SummerSlam, or not SummerSlam, we were at SmackDown.
Right.
This last Tuesday night, and I think Ambrose got the biggest pop of the night. You can do that or the Stone Cold promo for that wrestling video game when that Stone Cold Steve Austin glass smashed. Boy, the crowd exploded. But I think that it would be a mistake in a way because Dean Ambrose is so popular right now. But with that being said, I think Dean Ambrose's natural state should be as a heel. I think he is absolutely fantastic on the microphone. I think he is the one of the Shield that should have been champion. I love Seth Rollins. He's great and everything, but the only thing he's got going for him is at least being a heel, well, besides being a cowardly little prick that never wins a match fair and square. But he's got that really funny laugh.
Right.
But Dean Ambrose has the whole package. He can think on his feet. He can think. He can go through things. He can make people hate him just like that. The way that he responds, his mannerisms, the way he acts, he grabs a microphone. He's very easy to hate. It's just perfect. He is probably the future of WWE heels. Like, he is going to be the best heel. It just depends on when it's going to happen.
Right.
It's got to happen. Maybe it'll happen against John Cena someday. Maybe it'll happen against Roman Reigns. Some big face needs to bring The Rock back for some kind of program and have him turn then. I just don't think if it happened at SummerSlam, it would be forgotten very quickly. I mean, in that match, he's going to turn on Roman. Roman's not even majorly over right now. He's kind of one of those forgotten geeks anyway. Right. I don't know if it would really make much sense. You know, Bray Wyatt turning face, that would make sense. That would be awesome. It's just, I don't know.
I'll probably go with Reigns and Ambrose on this one, just because I think it's one of those victories that's long overdue for, Shield versus Wyatt feud, because Wyatts have always won.
Yeah,
I think it's finally time to have Reigns and Ambrose pick up a victory over those guys. But
I agree.
Yeah, but going into one of the main events, the title United States title versus WWE World title, John Cena versus Rollins. Please tell me you're not.
Wait a second. Wait, you think that's going to be the main event, or do you think Taker and Lesnar is going to be the main event?
I know Taker and Lesnar is going to be the main event. I'm just saying one of the main events that they like to promote.
Oh, okay.
It's like, we have 3 main events, but there's only going to be one true main event, and that's the last match to go.
I want to hear what your thoughts are on this world title match.
I think one of the things that they made the mistake about was to have that new John Cena T-shirt come out, like now, because I know they have, it's like the 15-time world champion. And John Cena did a pretty good promo on Monday about, like he was going to be the 16th time, and he related, Triple H and, Seth Rollins kind of very well with each other. And I thought that, when he said the phrase, the only difference is that Ric Flair didn't make you his bitch. I thought that was awesome. I'm thinking, wow, they're really going back to like Evolution days here. Jeez. But
So you think Triple H is going to somehow interfere and set up a Triple H John Cena feud?
No. I think that if they did do that, I think that would just be so overused, unless they somehow,
That's true.
Unless they make it for like a big time event, like where people would want to see it, like Survivor Series, and it's the opening matchup. That'd be the only time that would work. But I think that Triple H would probably get involved and cost Cena the title, just so that Triple H maybe can just.
Wouldn't break or tie with Flair's 16 championships record.
Right.
Yeah.
Just kind of going off that, and I think Triple H can probably say the next night is like it's like look who's bitch now, Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, he probably has to set an example for his kids, so he probably won't say that. But I think I'm going to say that Seth Rollins is actually going to get a clean victory over here, and I don't think Cena's going to win the title for a 16th time.
I hope you're right. I really do. I hope Seth Rollins goes over, and I hope he goes over clean, because it's needed. It's much needed. John Cena is on the hottest streak, maybe of his last 5 years of his career. I mean, honestly, this U.S. title run of his is beautiful. It's been so good. I think the wrestling has been good. He's been just a workhorse. I mean, he's working through broken noses. He's working through like bad back and all kinds of injuries and stuff. And he's putting on pretty decent matches. The Kevin Owens feud with Cena was fantastic, and he's constantly wrestling like Rusev and Cesaro and more Kevin Owens matches, and it's been good. And I think Seth Rollins putting an end to that and winning both titles would be huge. It would be this exclamation mark or a period that was very much needed on Seth Rollins' like world title run that started at WrestleMania. And the only real like definitive match that Seth Rollins has put together that was a championship match that he really looked good in was the one with him and Dean Ambrose, where he threw like Ambrose through like, was it 4 or 5 running powerbombs outside of the ring? Like, it was brutal. It was great.
Yeah, that matchup at Money in the Bank. I thought that matchup was probably the best that they've had in like the last year. I think.
It was good. I like that a lot. I like that they put Rollins over. They made Rollins look so strong, and he was just like, he was almost like intimidatingly strong. Like, it was like he'd put Dean Ambrose in his place. Like, everyone was rooting for Dean Ambrose, and he just crushed him. And it's like, here, look, now I'm the champ. And the next night after that, they had him get in the ring with Brock Lesnar. It looked like a scared puppy. It was like, fuck. Oh, well.
Yeah. Now going into the real main event, the match that was too big for WrestleMania, the big rematch between Brock Lesnar and Undertaker. Well, first of all, let me get your thoughts on this matchup, period, happening again. Because I know this is like 16 months in the making.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand two things. Like, when Undertaker fought Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30, he looked terrible. Undertaker, that match, it was exciting because Brock went over, and that was the most memorable part about it, and Undertaker looked like he had just gotten the shit kicked out of him for a good 20 minutes straight.
Yeah.
But he looked bad. He looked like tired, he looked old, he aged a ton. And when he came out and wrestled at 31 against Bray Wyatt, he looked 5 years younger. Like he looked like he had gotten his waistline really tight, and you could see like a six-pack again, and he looked great. And I don't know if he's just been taking time off from the gym in the last 4 or 5 months or what's been going on, but he looks bad again. He looks like he just doesn't have the tone and definition that he had just in April. Like, it was just there, and now it's lost again. And I don't know if my memory's not working right or what, but I don't know. I'm pretty certain this match is going to suck, and I'm pretty hopeful that Brock Lesnar goes over clean again because, man, if they have Brock lose to the Taker, I don't know, man. It's like all that crazy momentum that he had with the title and everything, and, man, who's going to beat Brock Lesnar? I still want to see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. I still want to see a one-on-one, a serious one-on-one match between those guys, and then I want to see Brock and Seth Rollins. Like, this has got to happen. I don't know why this idea of the Undertaker coming back and why they thought this was a good idea. It should be Seth and Brock or Roman Reigns and Brock or something, because that's the stuff I want to see. I didn't want to see Brock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I hardly wanted to see that. I thought that match was going to be terrible. And guess what? During the match, in the middle of it, I looked at my friends and I said, this is pretty good. Like, I'm actually really interested because Brock is, like, destroying Roman Reigns, and Roman's just sitting there laughing at him. I'm like, I want to see this match again. I want to see this now. But instead, we're getting what is going to sell pay-per-views or sell the network, and that's an Undertaker match, and I think it's going to suck, and I hope Brock wins because, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think the only reason why they would want to have Taker go over would be to maybe have the big fantasy match between him and Sting at Mania, but I've said this before, it's way past that time. Have Sting fight somebody else, have Undertaker face somebody else in his possible final retirement match at WrestleMania. Have him, face somebody. I mean, I even thought the idea of having John Cena versus Taker at Mania would be better. I mean, at least, if Taker beats Cena, at least it's, ending career on a high note. And what Cena got to lose, really, even if he was, the world champion.
Right.
But, I think I originally was thinking Taker was going to go over just so that they can say, oh, well, Taker finally gets his win over Brock Lesnar after 15, not 15 plus years, like maybe 10 plus years of losing to Brock and being, Brock's bitch, finally getting that. But I think when you make the point of, where the momentum will go for Brock.
I think and I hate this, but I know that you're thinking that it would be stupid to do that because it just doesn't make sense for Brock, but I think that's what's going to happen. That's why I'm really not looking forward to this match. I think the Undertaker's going to win, and I think they're going to be like, there you go, ha-ha, Undertaker got his revenge. And it's like, what's that going to do to Brock Lesnar now? I mean, he only wrestles 3 or 4 times a year. We're going to have to wait a couple months. Hopefully everybody forgets that he just lost to the Undertaker when he comes back in the strong push for whatever belt he's going after, because I don't know. I would love it for Lesnar to win. He should win. The only thing that makes sense in my brain is that Lesnar would win, but I have a feeling they're going to have Undertaker win.
Yeah.
And the match is not going to be very good. I don't like it at all.
Well, I'll clash and be the one who picks Brock Lesnar to pick up the victory that night and maybe continue being the guy who does it. Because I really want to see main event of next year's WrestleMania actually be Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton, because the way that they both evolved since their first meeting, you can't deny that that's going to put bucks in the seats. People are just going to want to see that. And I even had like this plan of having Brock winning the title and just having him, take down like 3 of the tough guys, which would be, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, just building up to that. And then just have him face, Randy Orton. And Randy Orton would be the one to do it, because despite, not being the guy who has the most physical things, like, you're not going to see Randy Orton do German suplex like crazy like Brock could. I think that Randy might actually have a little bit of the mental game under his thumb, and I think he could be the guy who really makes Brock, think twice about doing moves, because Randy Orton might be able to find a way to counter like an F5 into an RKO out of nowhere and just, find that way to beat Brock. So that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah.
I think that would just be awesome.
I think you got something there. I don't know if I want to see Orton and Lesnar. I know that that's not necessarily like something that they've done like overkill on, those two being in the ring together, but it's just 2 guys that have been there and done that. It'd be like, I don't know, if I would compare it to something, I'd say it'd be similar to like if they would do, Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 20 or something. It's like, yeah, it had been a while, and it's been a long, long time, but it's happened. It's just not exciting. It's not new. It's not a first time for anything.
True.
Or like if Hulk Hogan had wrestled, like
Vince McMahon.
Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Oh, Superfly.
Instead of going after Sergeant Slaughter, they went after someone that was more of a household name like Jimmy Snuka or Ted DiBiase again or something. I'm like, oh, well, that's great. We've seen that 16 times before. I think that Orton and Lesnar would be cool, especially now with the newer version of Lesnar that's more extreme and more dangerous version of Brock Lesnar.
Right.
I mean, there's basically no one that can even go toe-to-toe with him unless they cheat, get out of it, except for the Undertaker, and I think Orton would be that cool kind of a completely clash of styles. Like, he could be getting his butt kicked for 20 minutes and get 1 RKO, and the match is not even.
Right.
Like now they're both fairly able to get to the 10 count. I think that'd be cool. So it'd be something neat for sure.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Well, we are just about out of time, but thank you so much, Joshua, for being on here. It's always good having you and good talking to you, man.
Awesome. I am so glad that you got a hold of me. I think this was a lot of fun. We should definitely do it again, man.
Oh, definitely. We'll stay in contact. We'll be doing good. Guys, you people have a good night. This has been Nate the Great with Joshua Yeager reminding you that, hey, guys, don't let opportunity just come to you. Go out there and create opportunity. Nate the Great, signing off.
Yeah. San Diego.
Yes. Stay classy, San Diego, Wisconsin. Have a good night, guys.